I was casually vibing with this arc from the start all the way up until the brothers got defeated, but it wasn't until this queen showed up that I actually got invested. Gizmo here, coming at you live from the bathroom stall of your local Sizzlers to talk about the 5th arc of Black Clover, the Underwater Temple arc. And let me say off rip that I can see why some of you said that Black Clover really starts here, because Jesus fuck it starts. There's like 1 or 2 negatives, so let's get that shit out of the way real quick. As per usual, Charmy is pretty lame but takes part in one fight, so it's whatever. The old temple lord guy is kind of cringe with the perf stuff, but it's not too important, so I'll let that slide too. Now let's get to the... We got the setup from last arc with going to get the crystal, and that pretty much leads us right to the beach stuff, which I liked because it's funny seeing the bulls hang out and because boobs. Noelle being pivotal for getting them down there and that leading her to train her magic was something I liked a lot, because out of all the characters, as much as I like them, I think Noelle is the only one that actually rivals Asta in terms of how much I get behind her character. And then when we meet Kahono here, I pretty much got sus vibes from her on Jump, but I'll talk more about her later. The idea she mentioned about Noelle not being able to control her magic because she's straining to control herself is interesting and gets built up on more later. And on top of that, the flashback is sad and I hate her family. I give them the eat shit and die stamp of approval. The Black Bulls all coming together to cheer Noelle on was probably the most heartwarming scene in the manga so far, and the art for her dragon's cradle was sick. Asta catching her was cute too, and I do hope they end up together low-key, not to ship anything or anyone or whatever. We get another incredible double page spread of the temple. Like holy hell, Tabata just goes off with the art in this arc. Not gonna lie, I expected it to be abandoned, so I was surprised to not only find people in the temple but for them to be passive too. They all but lead us to the palace to meet the king. I keep forgetting what his rank is, but he's the leader and that's all that really matters. Once we get inside, the bulls get attacked, but Magna, Luck, and Gouache provide a crazy triple combo attack. This is actually the first of a ton of amazing combo attacks in this arc. That whole game setup with the warriors was a surprise, and at first I wasn't too sure how I'd like a battle royale type thing, but luckily it doesn't last that long anyway. I was disappointed and glad that Yami was taken out of most of it because it would have been too easy, but I also love seeing him fight, so it's kind of a sacrifice for tension, I guess. The matchups were pretty sick for the game. The first 4 being one tapped was funny as shit, and while Finral is avoiding the fight entirely, Asta meets up with his enemy for the game, who didn't really come off as that cool honestly, but that changes a bit later, and Kahono also reveals her susness as a semi-villain for a bit. I know this isn't too important, but I love that we get a map because maps are super cool and I'm a big supporter of maps, so yeah, cool map. Vanessa also one-tapped somebody, which was cool to see and surprising. We rarely get much of her, at least up until this arc, so it was kind of sick to see her in action. Kahono reveals that Noelle was subconsciously avoiding hurting people, and I feel like that adds a whole other layer onto her character and shows how she feels about her own magic and power. From what little we see of Asta versus Kaito, it was looking to be a crazy fight. That dancing shit was super wild, and I'm not gonna lie, I was praying for a 2v1 fight in this arc, and thank God it was my boys Luck and Magna versus the main C guy at first. A Midnight Sun eyeball whatever terrorist guy, whose name I found out later was Veto, pulls up and not only one taps the sea dude, technically it's like 2 or 3, but still he gets washed, but he also invades the scene temple and is the main villain for the rest of the arc. And when this happened, I literally could not stop reading. I just had to keep reading chapter after chapter after chapter. And then speaking of chapters, chapter 63 is literal perfection. I love Yami telling the group to surpass their limit. I was sad at first that he couldn't join the fight again, but him not being there resulted in the best chapters of this manga so far, so I'm totally 100% fine with it. I fucking loved just how many times Luck and Magna got up to keep fighting. The relationship is shown to us here and added so much more to this fight, knowing how they viewed each other as their first friend. The fact that they even lasted as long as they did against Vento by themselves is a testament to their pure will, and to top it all off, that combo magic attack was fucking amazing. The art alone is crazy as fuck. Without any context or emotional weight at all, it's still an amazing art piece. Asta does eventually show up to save them and show off why he's an amazing character when Veto lists off his weaknesses, which are very real weaknesses, and Asta essentially says he doesn't give a fuck, and I really like that a lot. It sort of almost gave me Luffy vibes. That's how much I liked it. In the middle list though, we do get a Gouache Gray combo, which was very unexpected but very welcome. I didn't even consider the fact that the underlings could be a threat. Honestly, I assumed they'd just be fodder, but I guess that's pretty realistic. We also find out that Gray has been a girl this whole time, and not just a girl, but a baddie. I don't know why, but it was at this exact panel that I realized Veto had a beard the entire time since we met him. No idea how I missed that, but I know that now. Anyway though, we get a song/dance combo that was admittedly pretty sick, but the idol dream thing is also pretty lame. Veto also has this vibe of self-importance, not exactly the right words to use, but he sees his own suffering as so much more important than the Clover Kingdoms. It isn't the most complex aspect to give a character, but it adds a layer that I really like about him. And speaking of Veto, he cuts off this dude's fucking arm and crushed Kahono's throat. Shit was crazy as fuck. And that absolute bodying results in one of my favorite scenes too, where Noelle finally lets go and cuts off Veto's fucking arm with the Sea Dragon War. That shit was almost fucking perfect. Also, Veto calls the Silvas the most corrupt. I mean, yeah, they suck dick because of how they treat Noelle, but why does he hate them? Turns out Noelle giving this fucker the business was a bad idea because he starts giving off this abnormal magic and then opens up a third eye and then starts casting spells that are in a completely different language, which I thought was pretty sick as fuck. I mean, you know a dude is serious when he's speaking a whole other language as he's kicking your ass. Asta saves Noelle from this crazy ass beam attack. I mean, my boy's really out here carrying the team in this arc. And she thinks back on this story about demons stealing magic and shit. Given what we know about the high class Clover Kingdom and the Ice Sun Midnight Terrorist people, it makes you wonder if these demonic beings are actually evil or if it's just some propaganda from the high class. My queen Vanessa pulls up to help everyone who's KO'd from being killed by this other beam attack, and I gotta say, I think her power is fucking awesome. It reminds me a lot of Doflamingo's power from One Piece, and if you know me, you know I love Dofi. Finral, Vanessa, and Asta versus Veto was not what I expected going into this arc at all, but it was absolutely fucking crazy. The stretch of chapters from 68 to 72 is peak Black Clover. I mean, the trio's first combo hit alone is crazy as fuck. We've been getting a few flashbacks from Veto, and the only reason I mention them now is because not only are they pretty vague, but one of them specifically talks about Liched as if he's dead. I don't really get it yet, but we see Liched earlier in the flashback and it looks like he dies at a wedding to Veto's sister. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of want to figure this out on my own. I'm just throwing my raw thoughts out there. I could honestly talk for hours about how absolutely fucking perfect this fight is. Like, nearly every page of it is a straight banger, and I'll throw up a few panels so you get what I mean, but holy shit, it's fucking good. And then Yami shows up at the end when Veto does some predator shit with his "I'm a sore fucking loser so I'll kill us all" bomb, and Yami uses a spell called the Dimension fucking Slash, and holy fuck, it's insane. This shit can cut through dimensions. Seriously, dude, like, fuck, Yami gets crazier every damn arc he's in at this point. On a side note though, how do you even learn new spells? I kind of want to know the intricacies of it, even if it doesn't really matter too much. After the Dimension Slash, the arc starts to come to a close, and I just want to say that I love how this was an arc surrounding all the Black Bulls. Now every single member has had their time to show off what they can do, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. This was an almost perfect ending and was honestly some peak shonen content. By the end, I could honestly see why some people said that this is where Black Clover starts.
It's over.
I really don't know what to think going into the next arc because I highly doubt that it'll have the peaks this one had. As I'm recording this, I'm actually currently reading the next arc, and the war with the Diamond Kingdom just ended, so I'll be giving my reviews of that arc next Sunday if I finished it in time, because there's also the Witch's Forest part, which is included in that on the wiki. It's finals week, so I'm gonna try to pump out a video before I have to deal with essays and exams and shit, but no promises. I also lied apparently, since there was no Cowboy Bebop video this week, and there probably won't be for a while because I'm lazy and, like I said, school. So yeah, I'm a liar. Anyway, that's all I have. Later. A question none of you have is, Gizmo, what is this channel about? And to sum it up, it's about me. That's funny.